In Segundos, Jasmine Crockett shattered Greg Abbott's entire argument. In Segundos, and the room felt it before he did. The kind of moment where everyone stops breathing for just a beat, waiting to see if he recovers or collapses under the weight of what she just dropped. Because what she said wasn't just a clapback, it was legal firepower. Pure, precision, constitutional authority with the tone of someone who knew she had him locked before he even finished his sentence. For a moment, even Abbott blinked. Too long, too slow, too late. And that's where the story begins. Porque lo que pasó después, you won't believe it. Abbott walked into that hearing ready to dominate the narrative. His team rehearsed the talking points, they polished the arguments. They planned to paint Jasmine as misinformed, as overreacting, as someone who didn't understand the impact of her own position. A classic political setup. But what he didn't understand was that Jasmine Crockett doesn't walk into these moments unarmed. She walks in with facts, receipts, and a calm intensity that tells you she already knows the ending. This wasn't just another debate. This was a high-stakes collision over state power, constitutional limits, and the line Abbott crossed publicly, thinking no one could challenge him with actual legal clarity. But Jasmine? Ella no juega. She wasn't planning to let him twist the law like a headline. She was ready to expose him on his own argument. And as the cameras rolled, the room leaned in. Suspense, because nothing about what happened next was predictable. Abbott began with confidence, his tone steady, his rhythm rehearsed. He framed his policy as necessary, urgent, legally sound. But Jasmine's eyes never moved. She listened like someone studying an opponent, telegraphing every move. The kind of listening that makes the other person start second-guessing their own script. People in the room saw it. The slow shift, the tightening shoulders, the small pauses in Abbott's speech, as if he could feel the trap being built around him brick by brick. And then she leaned forward, that quiet inhale that signals impact. And instantly, tension. Pura tensión. The reporters stopped typing. One of them even tilted their head because they knew Jasmine Crockett moments always hit different. You could feel the anticipation rising, the sudden awareness that something was about to snap. And then it happened. She didn't raise her voice, she didn't insult him, she didn't dramatize. She just used the law the way a surgeon uses a scalpel. Her first line sliced the foundation clean off his argument. Greg, you keep repeating this as if saying it louder makes it true, but the Constitution doesn't work the way your talking points do. You don't get to override federal authority just because it's politically convenient for you today. Boom. En segundos, argumento destruido. The room froze. Abbott blinked again. Even the mic felt too loud afterward. But she wasn't done. She pressed further, her words sharp, measured, unstoppable. She laid out the exact section of constitutional law he misrepresented. She pointed out the contradiction in his previous statements. She reminded him and the nation that governors don't get to selectively interpret federal power like a menu. And then she hit the line that detonated the entire debate. If you actually believed what you're arguing right now, you wouldn't be contradicting your own legal filings. This isn't about the Constitution. This is about convenience, and you know it. That's when the audience reaction shifted. A soft gasp, a quiet awe from the back. Someone in the corner raised their eyebrows like they were watching a live plot twist. Because she didn't just challenge him, she exposed him. Suspense again, because Abbott's reaction, brutal for him. His smile tightened, his body leaned back just an inch, his eyes flickered left toward his team, like maybe someone could rescue him from the corner he'd been pushed into. But no one could. There was no talking point strong enough to recover from a direct call-out backed by legal citations. He tried pivoting, repeating the same rehearsed claim, but Jasmine already knew he'd go there. She stepped right over his pivot, calmly dismantling it piece by piece. She had a reply to every escape route, every rhetorical sidestep, every political trick. And the more she spoke, the smaller Abbott looked. Twitter went nuclear immediately. Clips were posted before she even finished speaking. People wrote captions like, "Ella lo destruyó." They said she walked him straight into a legal checkmate. They said this was the moment Abbott realized he wasn't in control of the narrative anymore. Reporters called it a live constitutional takedown. Analysts said Jasmine executed one of the cleanest, fact-based demolitions they'd seen in months. And Abbott? He tried to recover, but the hesitation was visible. His voice dropped, his arguments lost rhythm, even his hand gestures couldn't find consistency. Suspense, porque todavía no has escuchado la parte más fuerte. Jasmine leaned in again, slower this time, more deliberate, the tone you use when you know the next line is going to live on the internet forever. If you're going to challenge federal authority, at least read the part of the Constitution you're invoking, because right now, you're arguing against a document you didn't even bother to understand. Boom. Silence. Impacto total. Even Abbott's supporters couldn't defend that one. Reporters captured his reaction, a half-second micro-expression that looked like someone just unplugged his confidence. A stunned stare, a swallow, a forced shoulder shift. And then she added the finishing strike. Power isn't something you claim because you want it. It's something the Constitution gives you. And today, it didn't give you this. That was it. That was the moment. The room shifted. Control shifted. Abbott didn't have a path back. Not legally, not rhetorically, not emotionally. Aftermath was immediate. Clips trending on X. Analysts breaking down her citation accuracy. Commentators praising her composure. Spanish language pages captioning it with "Ella lo dejó sin palabras." "Ella lo expuso." Ella ganó. But what made the moment legendary wasn't the volume of her words. It was the precision. She didn't ramble. She didn't chase applause. She delivered exact facts with calm intensity. She destroyed him with the same document he claimed to defend. And when the dust settled, even legal scholars admitted she was right. Abbott's argument wasn't just weak. It was structurally unsound. He misinterpreted constitutional authority. He overstated state power. He relied on political rhetoric instead of legal grounding. Jasmine, she treated the Constitution like a lived, breathing text, not a prop. And that's why she won. Suspense, porque aquí está la verdad que no se ha visto. Abbott didn't lose because he was wrong. He lost because Jasmine knew exactly how he'd try to spin the law. She predicted his talking points, countered them with receipts, and exposed his contradictions before he could even reach the end of his own sentence. That's strategy. That's precision. That's legal firepower. Puro poder constitucional. And this wasn't just another viral clip. It was a shift, a moment where the room realized who actually understood the law, a moment where Abbott looked like he'd stepped into a fight he wasn't trained for, a moment where Jasmine Crockett proved, again, why her voice hits harder than political theatrics. And this wasn't just a moment. It changed the room forever. If you think she destroyed him, drop your thoughts below and subscribe, because these courtroom takedowns, they're only getting started.